Chapter 15. Case File SIO2. Chapter Wrath of Art. Suspicion. Kamalwipak House. Tarn looked at the European-styled mansion ahead of him in awe. Paya's house was huge, with a fountain at the front of it. He had no idea why a rich guy like Paya made his career as a law enforcement officer. Tarn had heard from Singh that Paya's family worked in finance and investment. Paya's father was an investment magnate, and his mother had a royal bloodline. That life was a perfection. Whoever had him as their boyfriend would live a comfortable life for good.
Stop peeking already. Let's get in.
Seeing Tarn swooped left and right amused him. Tarn nodded, abruptly got out of the car, and followed the tall figure. Once his feet touched the floor, both eyes stumbled upon lots of esteemed brand cars, causing his mouth to hang open. Holy cow.
Why keep standing there?
Cars! Your cars! So insanely cool! Tarn swallowed a big gulp of saliva. Kaya saw how Tarn was so psyched about the cars he couldn't help but laugh.
Okay. Let's get in now. You can see them tomorrow if you wish.
Kaya signaled with a hand gesture to him to come in, just like how one would do with dogs. If Tarn had a tail, it would be wagging around. Should I greet your parents first? Tarn asked while sweeping around, looking for his family members.
You don't have to. My parents may have already gone to bed. You can greet them tomorrow.
Is it going to be okay? Kaya tipped his head to affirm, then led Tarn to his own room. Kaya's bedroom was pretty elegant and neat under the blue and dark gray tone for the most part, with the medals and certificates from the sports competition hanging on the wall. He studied in France and were a car racer? That's why he could drive so briskly.
Yep, during my high school time there, I did many activities.
Tarn took off his suit jacket and put it on the couch. His eyes scanned through Kaya's prestige histories with interest. Kaya reached out for a water bottle in the fridge, telling Tarn to take it, and then tossed it at him.
If you want to know, just ask me. No need to read it yourself.
I can read it. Seeing him like this, he was capable of speaking English. His mom, Cow, urged him to study English long before he could read and write.
I'm not looking down on you. Just suggest how to get it quick.
Actually, he wanted to narrate his backstories. Tarn seemed to get a hint, so he nodded in acknowledgement. Tarn took a seat on the couch. Well, tell me, golden boy, what were your inglorious tales during your high school days? Kaya plunged himself beside Tarn.
A lot.
Like what?
Drinking, clubbing, doing drugs, fucking around.
Tarn looked at Paya's face in disbelief. Really? Assuming how he looked, it couldn't be.
You've seen my tattoo already, so you still think I'm a golden boy?
When they nicknamed him a golden boy, it amused him until today. Have you ever gotten your hands on drugs? Kaya swallowed hard before tipping his head.
Once, then quitted it for good.
Badass.
I tried it with my friend and was tripping.
Kaya dived into the past scenario that day, back when he was an impetuous experimental teen.
Since we were young and naive, we were tricked into dealing drugs for a son of a bitch, and my friend was shot dead.
Are you for real? But your profile. It might be his father who cleaned up the mess for him.
Because of this issue, my father and I didn't get along well. I became a family rebel and chose to join the Air Force only to spite him. But as time goes by, it turns out to be something I really like.
Right. You have quite a lot of inglorious stories to tell.
What about you? Why did you become a cop?
Tarn paused a little, looking at him in reluctance. I,
Tell me, I want to know everything about you.
Kaya said in an earnest tone. The resolute glint in his eyes spoke Tarn in the back of his heart. Th- This was quite a peculiar atmosphere. Everything about me, Tarn said amazingly.
Everything.
Kaya reiterated under sturdy expression. Tarn fell mirthless, zipped his mouth, and leaned on the couch. Because of Longpor, Tarn's voice weakened as he spoke.
The monk who raised you up?
Tarn shook his head. No, Longpor is my biological father. Before he became a monk, he was a cop, a top-notch cop, who excelled in his duties, but he had to resign and become a monk because of me. Tarn's voice was low, revealing the glint of sadness through those eyes.
Why was it because of you?
Before my mom gave birth to me, mom and dad paid homage at Wat Po Chai Temple to see Luang Pu, the monk my dad highly respected. He cautioned my parents that they shouldn't return to Chiang Mai and should give birth to me in Nong Khai because I'm the river son. I should stay close to the river. If they returned to Chiang Mai, I would die within 1 year. My mom and dad didn't believe it at first, but when I was only 3 months old, I was so seriously ill that my heart stopped beating. Dad placed a charm that Wang Pu had given onto my chest so I could return to life. Then, they both followed Wang Pu's words by relocating me to live in Nong Khai. Even though I recovered, I was still a sickly kid. The only way to save me was my dad had to enter the monkhood for me to extend my life, and I was raised in the temple since then.
What about your mom?
My mom returned to Chiang Mai for some reason that she couldn't live with me. No matter how much I asked, she never told me. Actually, life inside the temple wasn't bad. It was fine and peaceful. Haya formed a solemn expression, thinking of the incidents happening to Tarn quietly. Back in the days when Van Visa said that Shalatorn had planned to take Tarn back, Shalatorn would have plotted it since Tarn was just a kid. Other than this plan, is there any other plan he intended to do? Despite his suspicion, he couldn't know what lay inside Shalatorn's mind.
So, the reason that you want to become a cop is because your father was a cop?
Not really. The actual reason is I want to catch the gunman who killed my father. Haya flinched. Never imagined Tarn would have such a background. Tarn clenched his fist tightly. The lightning lament illuminated his thought. The reel of his dad was shot by a masked perpetrator when his dad was sweeping leaves in the temple right before his eyes. The gunman was the criminal whom dad put in jail. When he was released, he headed straight to take his revenge on my dad. Grab. Kaya enfolded Tarn's head to lean on his shoulder. The woeful feud suddenly snapped and was replaced by bafflement instead. What the hell is this, Paya? Tarn withdrew himself from Paya.
Consoling you.
Not only speaking, Paya also grasped Tarn's head to lean on his shoulder again. KK, I'm not sad anymore. Stop consoling already. It felt awkwardly tickling to do such a thing with Paya. Even though Paya was as close to him as PI, why did he always cease to function when Paya tried to share the emotional closeness? Paya saw a rosy blush glowing across Tarn's ear. He decided to stop teasing.
I came up with something. Your hand hurts. Do you want me to help you shower?
Spurt. Tarn spurted out water all over the floor. You can't be serious, right?
I'm serious. You can't soak your wound, can you?
No, I can do it on my own. I can lift my hand like this, so I'm dead sure it doesn't get soaked with water. Tarn raised his wounded hand.
It's no big deal to me. My bathroom is large. We can do whatever we want inside of it.
What the heck is whatever we want? Paya!
Why so shy? We have showered together many times during the training.
That's...
Don't be difficult. Or do you want me to undress for you?
Haya asked while scooting over and reaching out for Tarn. Tarn retreated and glared. No, I'll do it myself. Where's the bathroom?
Over there.
Tarn's eyes followed Paya's sight, and he made his way to the bathroom. Once he glanced back, he saw Paya sitting still on the couch, leering at him with a bird of prey look, causing his cheeks to burn that he screwed up with words. Where is the towel?
In the bathroom.
Haya said calmly. Tarn nodded and abruptly whisked into the bathroom. He locked up the door and groped his chest. Why is his heart pounding? Haya was a friend. Don't you know? Tarn fluttered this teasy feeling before undressing himself and taking a shower. Even Paya's bathroom was elegant. There was a bathtub too. After a brief exploration, Tarn realized that this bathroom was literally large, just like Paya said. Click! Tarn flinched. He heard the sound coming from the door. Suddenly, those orbs flew open once he looked. Both hands were automatically lifted to wrap around himself. Paya! What the heck are you barging for? Tarn yelped with this question. Those eyes widened even broader when the tall figure untied the towel and walked toward him with a bare naked body, absolutely nothing on.
I said I would help you shower.
Paya voiced placidly while eyeing head to heel on the other person and whistling.
Hot damn. Your size.
Paya! Tarn's face lit up a bright red, glaring at Paya with frustration. Bite your tongue. If you want to shower, do it alone. I'll wait outside.
No. It won't hurt to take a shower together.
Yes, it will. It will hurt me. Tarn huffed out a heavy sigh. The sigh roamed around, searching for a way out from Paya.
So you don't take a shower with me?
Paya squinted while asking. Tarn, on the other hand, started to feel unsafe and slowly stepped back. He realized all of a sudden that if he refused, this would lead to a fight between Paya and him, and he would undoubtedly be defeated. Yes, because he had fought with Paya before, so he was aware that he would be defeated anyway. Okay, I'll take a shower with you.
That's it.
You go bath in the bathtub.
I want to shower.
Tarn started to rile up. Then I'll use the bathtub. Back off! Tarn used his uninjured hand to push Paya on the shoulder. Not only did Paya not get out of his way, but Paya also seized his wounded hand to keep off from the shower drizzle, then snatched the slimmer waist toward himself and pulled Tarn to inch closer under the shower stream together. Get off me!
I said I will help you shower.
And they said, don't! It was driving him off the wall. This was dangerously close that their parts clung. Tarn's face was ablaze. His whips bristled on every inch of the skin as he shot a harsh glare at the self-centered dude within his view. Paya! Paya smirked as he ran his hand along Tarn's chest and the beautiful chiseled abs, but not as clearly visible as his. A crimson blush washed over Tarn's face. The body boiled up when Paya's hot, firm hand trailed over the skin. It caused Tarn's every feathery hair to stand intensively, causing butterflies to run wild in his stomach. Tarn brushed that solid hand off and flashed a glare at the person who charged him when he was caught off guard. I don't want to take a shower now. Tarn couldn't wait to leave this place. He didn't like to get stuck in such a situation at all, even though he was covertly satisfied with that touch. But isn't it embarrassing to feel such a thing with his friend, especially when both of us were male?
Why? What are you scared of?
Haya asked in a husky voice. The more the person before him tried to ignore his eyes, the more he yearned to provoke. Haya leaned forward and whispered in a raspy tone.
Or you're scared you'll be turned on?
Haya!
Grab.
Tarn's eyes almost bulged out of socket. His empty hand lifted to push against that robust chest, full of fright. The close contact with the cold water shower cascaded between them never cooled Tarn down to any degree. Instead, their closeness burned him as if he was pressed by a hot iron fresh off the stove. Tarn's face now blushed a deep red. His bashfulness was married to the desire. Payas and his privy parts were now puffing and clasping to each other embarrassingly. Tarn pursed his lips tightly and faced up to glimpse Paya briefly. He wanted to open his mouth to resist, but when he met those penetrated, flaming glint of eyes, it made him wordless. They were both men. How couldn't he tell what Paya wanted? At first, Paya simply wanted to tease the other person, but now his own feelings spiraled out of control. It sparked and was hard to die down. He wanted it, and he wanted it now.
It's getting hard. Let's help each other out.
Pious' voice smeared as he spoke. Those pupils flickered with a fervent craving. You! Tarn fell suddenly tongue-tied. No! You said you weren't attracted to men, did you? We're friends. What kind of friends will help? Mm. Tarn's eyes blew wide in disbelief when those steamy lips pressed on him, sending the humid tongue to push and pull in his mouth with expert skill. Ah! Tarn leaked a guttural sound. He tried to turn away from that heated, assertive touch, but he had no idea how Paya could muster up all the strength to pin him against the bathroom wall and groped him restlessly. Tarn was a man. He touched himself to release the tension once in a while, since it wasn't his obsession from the start. However, to run into such an arousing touch, how, how couldn't he succumb to it and get carried away? Haya spun him around so that he felt like losing himself. No, Tarn protested to himself when that strong hand fondled his central core and ground up close, sending a surge of thrill down his spine. Tarn's mind was blank and blurry. He tilted his head to return the tall guy's teasing kiss when two bodies moved and buffed up rhythmically.
Mm,
Paya growled a deep moan in his throat, then withdrew himself to nuzzle around Tarn's radiant neck, sucking it up to leave a lustful, possessive mark with a hand that kept pleasuring Tarn down there. His piercing eyes peeked at the snowy figure who was closing his eyes. Tarn's lips were now plumping up, slightly parting, with the head tilting upward. It aroused the viewer like him to quicken his stroke. Tarn narrowed his eyes, looking at Paya. He was about to call out Paya's name, but he had been pressed by those sizzling lips to shut him down. Tarn unyieldingly responded to that kiss. Even though it wasn't as masterful as one of the former girls Paya had met, it still satisfied Paya to an impressive level. Paya compressed his lips tightly. Droplets of sweat intermingled with the drops of the water on his body. The thrilling touch drove him to the edge of ecstasy. Tarn and he inclined their forehead against each other, exhaling heavy breaths and hastening their scorching moves in rhyme. Soon after, the bodies felt like floating on air, splashing love potion onto that steely hand. Pius sunk his face onto that narrower shoulder, while Tarn panted on his exhausted legs, leaning against the wall. No words were made from any of them, only listening to the drumming heartbeats of one another in quietude. What kind of friends do such a thing? Tarn asked in a hoarse voice. Those eyes were vacant, avoiding looking at the one still unfolding around his waist. The anger and embarrassment blended that he couldn't look at the other person. Paya released Tarn's hurting hand and slightly stepped back from the slimmer man. His palm cupped Tarn's face to look his way.
my friend in France.
But I'm not your friend in France. Tarn lashed with the flame eye rims and felt disappointment at heart. He frowned. Why did he have to be disappointed too? Kaya leaned in to pick a kiss on Tarn's forehead.
I'm kidding. Don't be mad. What I really want to say is a friend who doesn't want to be your friend anymore. So I did this to you.
He knew it. He wasn't stupid. And he knew it quite a while since the training that he had special feelings for Tarn. But he refused to admit it. It wasn't because Tarn was a man, but because he was so attached to Nong Dao back then. Thanks to Van Visa, the vision from the past life, and Shalatorn. Otherwise, he wouldn't realize how much Tarn ruled over him. Tarn looked at Paya in disbelief. You already have your crush, don't you? Tarn could remember that Paya already had someone in his heart. Paya curled up a smile.
She doesn't love me, and I don't love her anymore.
Tarn looked at Paya, who flashed a beam at the slim figure so radiant that it blurred his sight. His heart pounded with joy as he pursed his lips tightly to suppress the smile and continued questioning in a low voice. But you said you didn't like men.
Haven't I told you that I boned with men before?
Kaya asked in confusion. Normally, he told Tarn everything, but he might have forgotten to say this to Tarn. Tarn was shocked. You! If only he knew, he wouldn't follow Paya home. Tarn pressed his lips sulkily. Don't say that Paya made it with him because Paya saw Tarn's expression didn't look right. He could guess what the other person was thinking, so he abruptly explained.
The other person was because of lust, but with you, it's because of love. That's different, Tarn.
You jerk! Slushy! Tarn snapped to hide his coyness. Paya smiled, feeling adorable about Tarn. He pulled that sinewy body in and embraced it whole.
One more time.
Paya asked in a raspy voice, teasing the one in his arms. Tarn lifted his fist and hammered Paya's shoulder twice. What's your reason exactly? You're just horny or what?
I'm kidding. Come on, let's wash ourselves and hit the bed.
During the hug, Paya could feel that Tarn's body was warm as if he had a fever. They'd better finish showering quickly before his craving kicked in again. After showering, Paya gave Tarn paracetamol pills before going to bed. He used the hair dryer that he borrowed from Parani's room to dry one another's hair, hit the bed with the hands still clasping on one another, and fell asleep almost at the same time. Just before Paya fell asleep, he heard a familiar voice ringing in his head.
Let's go out to talk, shall we?
The low-pitched, cold voice chimed in his head. No sooner could Paya answer anything than he felt as if the body was pulled away. Paya swept through the surroundings, then gazed back to the one who brought him here. This room's decoration was reminiscent of Tarn's room. Or maybe it belonged to the one before him now.
I'll cut to the chase.
Dr. Shalatorn was sitting with his leg crossed on the chair, locking his glare on Paya.
Stop messing with Tarn.
Paya laughed it off.
Tarn and I are friends, in case you forget. Yeah, maybe more than friends already.
More than friends. From the impassive expression turned to the cold one, Shalatorn's voice deepened. You knew so well about how she thought of you. Von Visa may have told you all of it, not to mention the past stories you've learned. In whatever life, she must face her death because of you. And you still think you deserve the love she gives you, stupid human? Hyatt tightened his brows. In whatever life?
What do you mean by that?
Chalatorn narrowed his eyes. Didn't she tell you all of it? Right, I forgot. Von Visa could no longer come to tell you anything further.
What did you do to her?
Paya questioned in a dark tone. Chalatorn ignored Paya's question. He sunk into a contemplative state for a while, then shifted his stare to Paya.
Do you want to know your vicious deeds? I'll do you a favor. The vicious deeds that you were always unmindful of her love to her demise. You still think you're worthy of her? You're unbearably brazen-faced.
This caused Charlotte's tolerance to cease. Paya was on the verge of refusing, but this man stretched out to cast a spell, pulling him to witness the montage of pre-existences between him and Tarn. No matter how Tarn appeared in whatever shapes and forms, he always ended up with death indirectly by his hand.
See it with your own eyes. Take it into consideration if you still merit her love. Not at all. Someone like you doesn't deserve it at all. I'll take my woman back, and no one can stop me.
Paya tossed and turned before startling awake with a drenching cold sweat. His face went discolored with weariness, tears streaming down his cheeks. He bolted upright, gasped for air as he wiped off those tears, and cast a glance at the one beside him. He saw Tarn furrow his brows and flip away from the disturbing noise. Paya breathed a sigh of relief and dropped himself onto the bed once again after being able to calm himself down and kept checking if Tarn was still breathing. Those past reflections were too horrifying for him to resume his peaceful slumber, so the tall figure kept locking gaze onto Tarn until the sun wreathed the sky. Oh! Tarn opened his mouth wide to yawn inside the car. After waking up, showering, and having breakfast at Pius' house, he felt like greeting Pius' family. However, he was told that everyone else had been out to work since the break of dawn. Tarn couldn't help feeling regret.
Darn.
Hmm? Tarn swooped to Paya, seeing the other person cast a serious expression. Tarn furrowed his brow questioningly. What? What's with the stern face?
Are you in love with me?
Huh? Why raise that question all of a sudden?
Tell me straight. I want to be sure.
Tarn thought of what happened between him and Paya last night and realized that he had yet to reveal his feelings. It's it's been a long time already. He had had special feelings for Paya for a long time, but chose to overlook it because he knew that Paya didn't think the same.
What long time?
In love with you. Tarn's voice was low as he answered. His heart shivered once he confessed it. Paya unfurled a thin smile and pivoted to Tarn, meeting those sparkling pair of eyes.
I knew that.
And he knew that for too long that he felt regret.
Tarn.
Hmm?
From now on, let me take care of you.
Tarn looked at Paya in the eyes in oddly perplexity and bliss in the mix. Paya's firm, resolute glint of eyes warmed Tarn's heart to this whole. Suddenly, all of the overwhelming feelings welled up into tears. Paya was startled that he almost stomped on the brake, but Tarn hastily wiped away the tears and spoke up with a shaky voice. I don't know why I cried. I might be happy a little far too much. Paya cast a softened glance at the one next to him, leaning over to smack a kiss on Tarn's forehead before resuming his side to the road. Tarn glared at Paya. Damn you! You're driving! Paya cracked up a laugh.
You may not believe it, but I want you to know that I might have been in love with you for a long time as well.
He only didn't hear his own inner voice for a long time. Tarn was baffling, yet the heart swelled with joy.
Be my boyfriend.
Isn't it too easy?
It wasn't easy for long enough, Tarn, and we should make it easy now.
Said Paya in an earnest tone. For some unknown reasons, Tarn inwardly agreed to what Paya said, so he gave a nod as his response. Hmm. Paya blissfully beamed and felt overwhelmed by gratefulness. The strong hand reached for Tarn's hand and held onto it tightly.
Thank you.
Thank you for always being there by his side. From this moment on, he would never let Tarn go like he used to, and he would never let anyone steal Tarn from him. Anyone or anything, he would never let them do it. DSI department. Tarn and Paya teased each other until they arrived at the office room. Once they entered, they saw everyone wearing a critical expression at the collaboration table, so they both co-joined everyone.
There you are. I've heard that you got hurt yesterday. How are you now?
Asked Yai to Tarn. Tarn raised his hand and smiled to ease Yai up. Just 5 sutured stitches, no biggies.
Right. Be careful next time.
Yai patted Tarn's shoulder, repeating his statement in a neutral tone. Tarn nodded and asked, "What are you doing?"
New case. Captain is making it in the process now. She'll be coming in soon.
Tong Tai faced up to answer, then passed Kind with the newest update to everyone. "What case?"
A corpse under Lady Justice that we found last night,
Cam told. Paya tapped on Kind to read the info that Tong Tai had just sent.
The deceased is Mr. Anan Metatam, 23 years old, graduated from K University, an aspiring artist in water paintings. He was YPodge student, the exhibition host. No crime history. And Mr. YPodge Utri, 45 years old, a famous water painting artist who graduated from the same university as the deceased. He also worked as a lecturer at K University. Crime history is clean as well.
Everyone read the information in kind while listening to Tong Tai simultaneously.
I've heard that the woman who tried to hurt him is the deceased's mother. Her name is Mani Metatam, 47 years old. She used to be a martial arts teacher in an training school. She quit and became an online seller to earn a living now.
That's why she has a lot of strength.
Paya murmured. Ajima voiced, "This is the lesson. Learn to never look down on women again." Ajima entered the room and handed a document to Singh. "We got this case, and now White Podge and Mani are waiting for us in the interrogation room,"
Tong Tai and I will interrogate them.
offered Singh. "Good. So Tarn and Paya go talk about the evidence with KJ and Dr. Maris and see what they got." Tarn and Paya nodded. "For Yai and Cam, you both look over the crime scene for more information. Now, split up and do your thing."
Copy.
Everyone stood upright and went partway to the task they were assigned. Tarn and Paya walked down to the basement floor to discuss with Dr. Maris as their first move.
Ah, there you are.
Dr. Maris gazed up to greet, beckoned Tarn and Paya to come forward to her, and handed the medical examination to Paya. Paya took it and read.
How is it, doctor? Any information?
The female doctor smiled. "Pretty much, more than the former case. The deceased had been dead around 51 hours or around 2 days earlier. On his torso, there were defensive wounds and bruises all over," said Dr. Maris while uncovering the white fabric for Tarn to check at those traces. "Take a look at this." Dr. Maris turned to the corpse's head for Tarn to see, then picked up a wooden rod with a nail and bloodstain. "This is the weapon that caused him a severe injury. The nail pierced into the skull and caused a fracture and a brain bleed, leading to oxygen deprivation, and the cause of death was the strangulation mark on his neck, leading to asphyxiation to death. Presumably, it looks like the dead person and the killer were in a serious argument." Dr. Marius lifted the corpse's hand for Tarn to see the back of its hand. The bruise on his hand showed that he also fought back. "They might fight until the criminal accidentally killed him." Dr. Maris nodded. Tarn and Paya exchanged their gaze, thinking that this case was a lot easier than the former one indeed. Then Paya and Tarn went upstairs to meet KJ in the lab room. KJ said he found unidentified fingerprints on the victim's body. The criminal had left their fingerprints, footstep traces, and hair at the crime scene. They would be identified and matched with the suspect. Interrogation room. Singh received the information from Paya and quickly
skimmed through it in front of White Podge, who was rubbing his hands anxiously, terrified and with fidgety eyes. Mr. White Podge. I didn't kill him! I didn't! Singh squinted his eyes, looking at White Podge. I didn't say you did it yet. White Podge flinched because before swallowing down his parched throat without any further words. Singh saw the other party's manner as if he was trying to conceal something. He asked in a detached tone, Anand was your student. Before I came to you, I had talked to Miss Mani, and she gave this for me to see. Singh picked out a picture and showed it to Waipoj. The picture of Mr. Anand in his painting. The one that he painted it with his own hand, but you exhibited it under your own credit. Waipoj's body quaked. His sweat seeped out all over his face, vividly reddened from shame. If everyone found out, how could he manage to face them all again? According to the organizer's statement, you and he had met before the exhibition started, on the date 12th, and then he went missing and was found dead in your exhibition. On the date 14th, kerosene, camphor, and charcoal were used to absorb the smell around the dead body. Those actions looked like they were concealing the body. Is there anything you want to tell me? Singh was pretty sure that White Podge was involved in this case, one way or another. End of chapter 15.